In this video, we'll demonstrate how to recode variables in SPSS using the recode variable functions. So here we have a hypothetical data set of 20 participants with information about the instrument they play, coded in numerically as 1 through 6, as well as a rating of how much they like their teacher. And let's assume for the moment that this is scaled such that 1 means they like their teacher a great deal, and 5 means that they like their teacher very little. So it's a counterintuitive response, let's say. So let's deal first, though, with this categorical variable. And let's say we have these 6 categories of instruments, and if we toggle over here using the value label, we'll see that we have woodwind players, brass players, percussionists, coded as 1, 2, and 3, and guitar, piano, and vocalists categorized as 4, 5, and 6, coded as 4, 5, and 6. Now let's say we're interested in how much someone may be liking their teacher according to instrument, but we can't really get a nice sense of that since these groups of 2 people are very small compared to the larger groups of 4 and 5. So maybe we want to collapse our coding of instruments to something simpler. Perhaps we want a code that indicates all the concert band instrumentalists versus the other performers. So if we wanted to create a new variable, we could simply go over and code a new variable, 0s for the concert band folks and 1 for the non-concert band performers. But if we had a lot of data, that would be quite cumbersome and we could be prone to making errors. So we could use instead SPSS's recode variables function to automate that process. So we can find that in the transform menu. And notice there's 2 options, recode into same variables and recode into different variables. I would recommend using recoding into different variables rather than recode into same variable, since if you use the recode into same variable, you're going to overwrite your existing information. And you may want to go back to that original information at some point and not delete it. So let's choose the recode into different variable option. And we get a dialog box here that asks, well, what input variable do you want to recode? And what are you going to call the variable once you recode it? So we want participant's instrument as a variable to recode. And let's just call this instrument simple, because we're going to reduce it from 6 categories to 2. Simple coding of instrument type. How about as a label? You can click change. And now we tell SPSS what to do with these values. So we're going to tell anybody that gets a 1, 2, or 3 is going to be included in one category, and anybody that has a 4, 5, and 6 in the original variable is going to be put into another category. So our old value of 1 gets put into a category. Let's just label it coded as 0. Our old value of 2, concert band instrumentalist is 2, will also get a 0. Our old value of 3 will get a 0. And so that takes care of our concert band folks. And now our non-concert band performers, 4, let's give them a new code, 1. And then 5, give them a new code, 1. And then 6 will also give them the same code. So now we're telling SPSS to reduce these 6 categories into 2 categories. If we click continue and OK, what SPSS is going to do now is create a new column of our simple instrument categories. And there we go, 0 and 1. So we can go further now and label these so we don't forget that 0 stands for our concert band instrumentalists and 1 is our non-concert band performers. So if we click over to the variable view side, you can see the name and labels of our new variables. So instrument simple, simple coding of instrument type. Let's code these value labels. So 0 is concert band performer, concert band performer, and 1 is non-concert band performer. Click OK, and we click back over the data view, and here we go. Nice intuitive description of those categories. So that was recoding a nominal or categorical variable. What about interval or ordinal level variables? It's quite the same process as you might imagine, but in this case I set up for you a scenario where this is counterintuitively coded, with 1 being a very strong liking and 5 being a dislike or a weak liking. So maybe we want to reverse score this item, which is a common thing to do in survey designs or to have to do when interpreting survey data. So we can do much the same as we did before. We'll go to transform, recode into different variable. We can reset this dialog box to clear everything out that we did before. So now we want to put in our ordinal variable of how much the participant likes their teacher. And let's call this one like teacher reversed. And we can describe it as a reversed scoring of like teacher item. Change the label. And so now we're just going to transpose those old values into new values with a more intuitive scale. So those with the least amount of liking previously gave a 5, which is counterintuitive. So let's give that the smallest number of a 1. So those who gave it a 4, we can now switch to a 2. Since it's a 5-point scale with 3 in the middle, 3 stays the same. Those who previously gave it a 2, indicating some degree of liking their teacher, we now give it a 4. And those who gave a 1, indicating the highest degree of liking, we can now more intuitively label that as 5. And so we're basically telling SPSS to flip-flop the scores, to reverse score for us. Continue, and click OK, and we will get again our new variable that's reverse scored. So for each number here, we now have a number that maybe is more intuitive for our own use. And again, we can go into the variable view, describe this more accurately as an ordinal variable, and then add our values as such, with 1 being the least and 5 being the most.